Hey, what's up, mortals? It's Villainous here with a new video for you. Welcome to Season 2, Part 2 of What If Deku Became an Android. I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So we begin. The UA Sports Festival, a long-standing tradition and the first impression that the newest classes of the most prestigious hero school make on pro agencies. But this year, the reasons for holding the sports festival were quite a bit deeper than simply showing off the quirks and training of the students. UA had a point to prove. If they wanted to keep their doors open and reputation clean, they would need to show that they can hold big events with nothing going wrong. All Might, we'll need you at the third entrance during the race, Nezu said into his cell phone, as he was checking a sheet where the stationings of every staff member and hero they had available were marked. Nezu wanted to make sure that UA would be the safest place in the country during the sports festival.
I understand. I'll be there on time,
All Might replied. After a slight pause, he asked another question.
Are you sure the security will be enough if the same villains appear?
The symbol of peace asked. I will tell you the truth, Toshinari. The Mouse Bear Man started solemnly. I don't know if it's enough. We have protection on the ground, under the ground, and above it, but it is almost impossible to properly protect against a warp gate. We must only hope that the villains there will be able to keep the damages to a minimum if the villains do appear, Nezu said nervously. Though any damages might be more than this school can afford. The media hasn't been off our case ever since the video of Midoriya surfaced on the internet. The principal sighed.
It's been some time since you've called me Toshinari, Principal. I can see the toll these events have taken on you.
All Might started.
You have done all that you can. We can only hope for the best now.
In one of the gyms, the students of Class 1A were preparing for the first event of the sports festival that would start in an hour. Kyoka Jiro, who intended to transfer out of UA, wanted to participate in the sports festival. There was something she needed to tell Izuku Midoriya, and she felt like the sports festival would be the only time she would be able to. She didn't know why she felt like that, but it didn't matter anymore. What was done was done. Kyoko looked over at Izuku. A large portion of the class was outright ignoring him. They were skeptical of the boy and his sheer power. Ochako Uraraka's many attempts to discredit him had been completely ineffective. The purple-haired girl decided to ask the brunette about this. She walked over to the girl, who was currently trying to levitate herself for longer periods of time with her quirk. As she saw Jiro approach her, the girl set herself down. Kyoka, what's up? She said enthusiastically. I hate to spoil your mood, but why do you want everyone to hate Izuku? Kyoka asked bluntly. She didn't want to waste any time. Ochako looked down at her feet. That's not really what I want. I don't even hate him, she muttered before lifting her head. I just don't want him in my class. Every time I look at him, I get a headache. It's like my brain is reminding me of what his attack did to me, she explained. Well, why don't you ask to switch classes then? Jiro said, as blunt as before. If I switched classes, I would have to give a better reason than him injuring me. I already tried that, and Aizawa had said that cooperation between students was necessary, even if they didn't like each other. He could tell that wasn't the real reason I wanted to switch, Ochaku said dejectedly. And if I told them the real reason, they would tell my parents. And I don't want my parents knowing I still get headaches from it, Ochaku said with a kind of energy Jiro had never seen in the brunette before. If they find out, they'll worry about me. They might spend money on some expensive medication to help it. But if I don't see Midoriya, I won't get the headaches, she elaborated. Jiro didn't have anything to say in reply. She had no idea Ochako cared that much about her parents. The brunette shot a quick glance towards Izuku before turning back towards Jiro. I know he didn't mean to do it. I've seen enough of him, been around him enough times. I think everyone here knows it at this point, deep down. I don't know why he did it, and I like to think he doesn't really know either. Jiro was surprised, pleasantly surprised. She had never really interacted much with Ochako, and didn't know her very well, but this was definitely not how she expected the conversation to go. Izuku Midoriya noticed the two girls conversing, but didn't pay much mind to it. All he had been doing since he woke up was training. Why do I always get put in comas? He wondered as he charged a barrier around him. Since finding out he had unlimited stamina, Deku was pushing the actual potency of his power to their limits. He looked over at Jiro. To think that his first friend in UA would probably be leaving the school made his blood boil with anger towards the villains that attacked. He couldn't even flip on a light switch without remembering Kaminari. He might not have been close to the electric boy, but he was still a classmate. It still hurt to know that he'd never see him again. Yaoyorozu was a different story. Although she had been declared dead, the entirety of Class 1A had an unspoken agreement. They would not give up on hope on Momo's survival. The police may have given up, but they hadn't. However, they had other things to focus on, as Gran Torino had been reminding them.
If the sports festival doesn't go extraordinarily well, UA won't have its doors open much longer.
The fact that the villains haven't been caught yet must not be helping matters too much. He thought, charging up further. I need to get stronger. I need to be able to beat that robot into dust if he appears again. His barrier grew brighter and brighter and exploded in a flash of light, putting a hole in the floor of the gym and knocking Ochako and Jiro, and Todoroki, who was also training nearby, off of their feet. Gran Torino was in front of Izuku in a flash. The old man was absurdly fast due to his quirk, which let him expel air from his feet, propelling him using specially made holes in his hero suit.
You need control over your power, young man,
the old hero said, annoyed. I was trying to push myself past my regular limits to increase the power of my energy, he explained. The old pro whacked him on the head with his walking stick.
Then do it with less of your classmates around you. I understand that all of you want to get stronger. Remember, you'll get better because of each other, not in spite of it. You need to work together.
The old hero scolded the whole class. They hadn't worked together very much since the USJ. They had all been somewhat pushed into their shells. Just as Gran Torino was about to continue, a loud yell and explosions drew everyone's attention to the fast-approaching Katsuki Bakugo. He flew over the other students, propelled by explosions, until he reached one of the fake mountains installed in the gym, where he unleashed a new move.
Howitzer Impact!
He yelled as he aimed explosions to get himself spinning like a top, smoke and explosions flying around him, colliding with the mountain, destroying it easily. Bakugo walked out from the smoke sparks in his hands. He pointed at Midoriya.
I'm not gonna lose to you twice, Deku!
The explosive teen yelled. Then he looked around at his classmates.
I won't just beat him, I'm gonna beat every one of you that stands in my way. I'm gonna win this thing!
He roared. Bakugo's challenge managed to get the class energetic for the first time since the USJ attack. They were determined, sure, but they didn't have the same kind of energy they did before.
Amazing. Taunt managed to put the student spirit back in these kids. The class dynamic is really something incredible,
Gran Torino thought. This video is sponsored by Grubhub. With more than 3,000 store locations, Grubhub offers on-demand convenience delivery across the country. You can search for restaurants by cuisine or location, quickly order food from the menu, or track your order from the app. All hassle-free and without any extra charges. Grubhub charges less than other food delivery services, allowing you to get the best value for your money. With Grubhub Plus, you can get free delivery prices for 10 meals every month on orders of $10 or more, for only $9.99 a month. That's not all. You can use the code AFF25 to save 25% off your first mobile order of $15 or more. This code is for a limited time, so again, get 25% off your first mobile order of $15 or more now if you use code AFF25. Check the link in the description. Thank you again to Grubhub for sponsoring this video. Around an hour later, all of the first-year students were gathered before a large gate. The first event of the sports festival would be getting into the actual sports arena. The contestants would have to race through the obstacle course, competing against each other and the robotic villains of the entrance exam. As the door opened, the students charged out at full speed, jamming the entrance, all except for one. Izuku Midoriya stood back. Ever since his defeat at the hands of the robot, he hadn't just gotten stronger physically. A phrase the robot had said still resonated with the greenette.
Your tactics are admirable. However, they are ineffective when faced with vastly superior power.
Izuku could hear the words like the robot was saying them in front of him now, and he was determined to prove them wrong. I know my strength now. I can analyze heroes. I can analyze quirks, and I need to be able to analyze situations too. Times like this, I can't hope to use raw power to win. I'll win this race using my brain, the teen thought. Kyokajiro was at a middling position among the crowd of students. Although her earphone jacks were able to easily bring down the robots, she had a much harder time with the more physical obstacles, such as crossing a tightrope over a canyon. Todoroki, Bakugo, and a boy from Class 1B were currently in the lead. Where's Deku? She thought. I haven't seen him for the whole race. Then a strange sound in the distance, like a jet engine. She turned around and saw green light fast approaching. A smile spread across her face. He never runs out of ideas, she thought. Deku had, up until a minute ago, been charging his energy. He calculated the speeds he could reach and the distance between the gate and the sports arena. Jiro watched as he passed above her, as though time itself was slowed. She saw the green energy flowing out of his legs like they were exhaust pipes on a car. He was in an aerodynamic stance, though he had enough speed as it was. The boy was akin to a bullet now. The spectators in the arena had watched as the boy charged his energy for a concerning amount of time before breaking into a sprint, as though he was a plane trying to build speed on a runway. And once he had reached the speed he desired, he'd launched himself into the air, putting a crater into the ground. Katsuki Bakugo, neck and neck with Shoto Todoroki, watched in awe and rage as Deku passed him once again, flying by him and the ice boy at speeds that must have broken the sound barrier. Deku went careening into the arena, barely able to stop himself from crashing into the audience, landing hard on the ground. A green aura surrounded him, a determined glare on his face. Silence surrounded him as countless pros stared at the boy. Then applause rang out from somewhere. It spread like wildfire, and soon the whole stadium was cheering for the boy. Seconds later, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Class 1B student Nino Monoma, who had the ability to copy quirks, also arrived in the arena. That was amazing, Deku, Jiro said enthusiastically as she rushed towards the greenette. He shrugged and scratched the back of his head. I have been practicing, and you did good too, 10th place. He complimented. It was Jiro's turn to shrug. I used a cheap trick at the landmine zone. I shot my sound waves into the ground, which shook it and triggered the landmines, clearing the zone and a ton of contestants in front of me, she said sheepishly. Deku looked the girl dead in the eyes. It's not a cheap trick, it's a strategy. It's using the environment. It's a sign of having quick thinking and creativity of a hero. Jiro couldn't help but smile at his attempt to make her feel better. After all, it almost worked. But as she talked to him, a creeping sense of unease crawled up her spine. She needed to tell him. For some reason, she felt like it was now or never.
Everyone! The Pro Hero Midnight announced. It's time for the second phase! Only the top!
Before the Pro Hero could finish her sentence, something fell from the sky. Panic ensued among the students and audience as it became clear what the thing was. A dead body. The dead body of the number 3 hero, Hawks to be precise. He had been patrolling the air above the arena.
Everyone, keep calm and evacuate!
President Mike yelled. But before the people could hope to leave, beams of energy rained down from the sky, collapsing any exit and knocking away any who tried to clear them. Then it was heroes. All the heroes with any sort of flight quirk that were protecting the arena. Then a crater formed on the ground as 2 figures landed. One of them was massive, dressed in a green combat vest with messy orange mohawk, while the other was an old man with long bushy white hair. The old man smiled.
It's too crowded in here,
he said. And at that, all hell broke loose. Thank you all for indulging yourself in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank our patrons, BD Flames, Ethan Davis, Terry Chills, Shifter Milas, Adam Zagil, Zill, Zabbeat03, and Joshua Phelps. Secondly, I'd also like to thank all of our YouTube members, Toya Costa, Rob the King, SithLord906, CF2364 and Knuckles, Remu Tempest, Angel Juarez, Donald C. Stewart, Bryant Greer, and Demonized Fox. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Fourthly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us from today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.